Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks. And Wargaming just made a surprise addition to the Bond store in World of Tanks where there's a whole host of new vehicles available. Now I've already made a video all about bonds, how to spend them from somebody who's brand new to the game to somebody who's very developed inside the game. So I recommend you go and check out that video first if you want to get an idea of the other vehicles and maybe the other possibilities of spending bonds. However, today's video I'm going to be covering the 4 new additions so we can kind of add to that previous recommendation list. So first up, at a cost of 12,000 bonds, it is the Foch 155. So this vehicle used to be the original tier 10 French tank destroyer in the game before it was replaced by the Foch B. And really the Foch B is just a better variation of this tank with higher damage per minute, with a much better reload, a bigger magazine. But it doesn't pack the penetration and the alpha of the Foch 155. So in some situations where you just want to be able to deliver a single shot to 3 tanks in a row, if you manage to hit them, and if they've got less than about 700 hit points and you don't low roll, then this one would be the superior tank. All jokes aside though, the Foch 155 is way better when it comes to its ammunition. And that is because it gets full-blooded 295mm of AP pen, 395mm of high explosive anti-tank, and even gets some full-blooded HE rounds with 1100 alpha and 90mm of penetration, which can come in handy. And so when I get myself into a matchup like this, I'm kind of not too annoyed that I'm playing the Foch 155, but I also have that real problem, and that is that you've got weak points, you don't have the most flexible gun, doesn't go that far to the left and to the right, it doesn't have the most gun depression either. We are packing a maxed out 6 degrees of gun depression in this tank, which is definitely not very good news. And really, you're just kind of like a glorified support tank. And without shadow of doubt, the most frustrating thing about this vehicle is that you have a 40-second reload, and sometimes you only need to fire a single shot, or sometimes you even miss that shot, and then you're left with 2 rounds in the magazine. Well, it looks like some people are already using the new Warhammer skins on that Red Ones Go Faster on the SW1. We're looking forward to being able to unlock those over this season. So, the Foch 155, do I think it's the most competitive tier 10 tank destroyer in the game? No. It's not bad. I don't think there can ever be a tank with an autoloader that is deadly as this that is also bad. But why don't you see more of them on the battlefield? It's because they're just really awkward, really clunky. And I think that after you've kind of got past that, wow, I did a load of damage, and I managed to take out a vehicle, and then you find out that it takes another 5 games before you're able to recreate that magic, that it just wears off a little bit. It definitely tarnishes the fun of the tank. Wargaming usually have been selling this vehicle inside the black markets. Usually it costs something outrageous like 20 million credits. I'm not sure if last time they sold it for gold or they sold it for bonds inside the trading caravan, or was it the Under the Hammer event? No, I think it was the trading caravan. Have to let me know in the comments down below, because I think they did it for bonds, didn't they? And if they did it for bonds, maybe they were testing out whether there would be the market for it before they put it into the bonds store. Sneaky wargaming, right? So in this kind of a situation, I'm in a fairly awkward scenario. I've got 2 E100s below, I've got a Leopard and maybe even a tank destroyer that's sitting up there. I've got an AMX-30B that wants to do a 3-point turn in front of me. That's not too bad. And I'm just thinking, can I manage to go and get this Leopard? Possibly. But he looks like he's already going down behind the rocks and he's caught out. So the Foch 155, it's very good if it manages to isolate an opponent, but it's really poor for when you get into these kind of situations where you're dealing with multiple tanks all in similar positions. Alright, so we've got an STB-1 who's making their warpath down here, and there is... Oh, this looks like a chance. This looks like a chance, boys and girls. This looks like a chance. I wonder if he'll realise that I'm behind him. I guess he does. Alright, I'll let you deal with that. Oh, thanks for shooting me and not shooting the 277, bud. Okay, I gotta watch out. That's a Jagdpanzer E100. I really wish I could reload high explosive anti-tank rounds for this player, but I think the AP rounds should suffice. Just gonna wait with my forever aim time. Okay, that last shot was me being frustrated and greedy, and I should have shot at the 430U. No excuses for the third shot, but the second one is just so Foch 155, boys and girls. And look, it's over the years, a lot of people have talked about this tank being a bit of a meme because it should do 2,250 damage in its magazine, but it just doesn't. And there's a lot of jokes about it being 750 DPM. Because it hits 1 out of 3, or it pens 1 out of 3, and then it has to spend like the next 40 seconds reloading. And so I'm kind of glad that my first magazine in this vehicle on this video today kind of ended up like that. Because if I'd hit all 3 of them, a lot of you might have gone into the bond store and been like, whoa, I'm going to drop my 12k bonds. This looks like the best tank destroyer there's ever been in World of Tanks history. And I think that might be pushing it a little bit. Where's this Progetto 65 going? This is like, do I even stop and shoot at him? No, I don't. You just don't have the turret, you don't have the flexibility, and if I miss, then I'm in this awkward scenario. However, things might be about to get very awkward for this Swedish tank destroyer, let me tell you. This vehicle is perfect at taking out a Swedish TD. I can overmatch his lower plate, I can overmatch his sides, I can completely destroy this tank. But so far, this has been a rather frustrating game for this tank, I'm not going to lie. And I'm kind of happy because it is the Foch 155. I definitely could have shot a little bit better there. Is he going to stop and try and shoot at me? Do I fire? Okay. Nice. There goes his automatic fire extinguisher. At least I didn't miss that one, right? If I'd missed that one, that would have been very painful to only have 2 left. One thing I must mention is I don't think I have the field mods with this vehicle. And when you get the second field mod, it does actually get substantially faster. I don't believe I have the second field mod in this tank. If I do, and this is how slow this vehicle is, that's just painful. You know what really sucks about this tank is now actually having to just drive around like this. It's so awful. And to only have 2 rounds in the magazine, luckily. Boom, baby! 563, that's actually a min roll. That is actually the lowest possible roll. I think I'm cursed today. I'm not sure I actually want to play World of Tanks. Like, what do I do now? Do I reload? Do I hold a shell? Do I just walk around as if I'm a regular tank destroyer and then have to have a 40-second reload afterwards, you know? It's rather infuriating from that perspective, but I don't know what I'm more surprised about. Is this guy really going to do this? He could track me twice here and then own me so badly. Well played, Object 907. Well played, apart from... Oh, is he going to ride me there? That's not very nice. Well, oh my god, he is owning me so hard. Please, somebody kill him to save me of my embarrassment. Oh, well played, 907. That was great. See, I was rushing to try and get my extra shot into the E100, and he just literally farmed my entire tank because of my greed. Oh my god, this tank, it just seems to do this. Well, I guess I got tilted out by my 563 damage roll that didn't give me the kill on the STRV-103B, and then I ended up just getting absolutely murdered by a medium tank. And you know what, I think this was actually, it was a horrible game for me in my Foch 155. Don't let me try and paint it any other way. But I'm happy that you got to see the 2 things that are incredibly frustrating about this tank. Number 1, having to walk around with a very small, like only 1 or 2 shells left in the magazine. It just doesn't feel right. If I'm in a Foch B, I reload, and then I can go in and dump in a full mag of a bigger magazine potential. Secondly, that you don't ever seem to hit a full mag on this tank unless you're at close quarters combat. And that's why it's got this meme of like 750 damage, and then that's it. Well, I guess I finished like 6th on damage in that game. It was a horrible round for this tank. Do I recommend this one? No, I really don't. But I will also clarify that I didn't have the reinforced suspension. If I had the reinforced suspension there, that would actually have been tremendous for the vehicle because it would have improved my mobility by 15%, and I probably would have got an extra shell in, or maybe I would have even stopped that 907 from jumping in on me. Very nicely played by that 907 though. Managed to get 1,500 damage on me with only like their last few hit points. I just thought that somebody would kill them, and I didn't want to shoot the 200 health hit points tank with my final shot of the game, and so I just got farmed. Oh god. Anyway, Foch 155. It can be funny, but this one's better. The Foch B is better. The Foch 155 just for me is so frustrating with the magazine. And look at the DPM disparity. This one has 2,511, and this one, if I put my crew in it, is packing 3,328. That is a bit of a difference. Okay, so I just played really stupid in my Foch 155. How about I play the KV5 instead, which is a tank that no matter how stupid you are, it seems to always do well. Although, you know, maybe I'm going to be tempting fate a little bit when I say that today. So I like to set up my KV5 in a bit of a bizarre way. I like to use durability, turbo, and a bounty protection device, which means that I can drop the repair kit altogether, and that allows me to use remove speed governors. And this means that my KV5 ends up being very durable and also still having very good mobility because of the speed governor. And you might think, well, don't you burn the engine? Well, the funny thing is the bounty protection technology actually kind of massively increases your engine. And so I've quite often ran the speed governors for 5 or even more minutes, and it hasn't burnt out the engine on the KV5 with a build like this. Although it can be very annoying if you get ammo racked, or if you, for example, get a broken gun. But the bounty protection technology does do well at protecting the ammo rack on the tank. So the KV5, big hit points and also big DPM. A lot of people who get this vehicle, you won't want to set it up like the way that I have. I do this for a bit of fun and for being aggressive and for ramming, which is my favorite way to play this tank, because I really don't think anyone picks this vehicle to be competitive. I think people pick this vehicle because they want to have a little bit of fun. It does have preferential matchmaking as well, which means that you never have to meet tier 10 tanks, which is definitely a nice thing in this day and age of so many tier 10s. So back to my equipment recommendations. Sure, what I'm doing here is a little bit of fun, but you could very well just stack up the DPM of this tank, maybe with a gun rammer, vents, and a durability device, or maybe a gun rammer, vents, and vertical stabilizers, and it would actually be very proficient indeed. Alright, so let's activate our speed governors, and I'm going to take my tank towards the north of this map. That's what I want to do on steps. I want to try and secure the flanks for the team. And this vehicle, with this kind of speed setup here, with the speed governors and also with the turbo on the tank, it's definitely not slow. Although I would never claim that the KV5 is the fastest thing that you're ever going to play around with. And don't expect your KV5, unless you're setting up like this, to be whizzing it around the battlefield. Nevertheless, it's just the perfect tank. I at one point said this was the perfect premium tank. And it wasn't because it was the best premium tank. You know, this isn't like the TS5 of the battlefield, don't get me wrong. It's not like a Skoda T56, but it was a perfect premium tank because of the way that it was balanced. Back in the day, premium tanks were worse than tech tree tanks, and the KV5 was no different. It was by far worse than an IS-3. It had a big old weak point on the front. Yeah, you know the story. But Wargaming still made it fun because it was the only Soviet tier 10 premium heavy tank, and that... Oh, am I about to get rushed here as I'm telling a story? And that meant that it didn't have to be as good because everyone who played it was still making fat credits anyway. And there weren't any, should we say, OP premium tanks that it had to be able to compete with. And so IS-3 drivers were happy because there was a KV-5 they could farm, and KV-5 drivers were happy because they were just making way more credits than they would do in any of the other tanks, even if they went and died, because it's got a fairly cheap repair cost and you could just play stupid and get away with it. And it had preferential matchmaking, so it never had to meet tier 10, so it quite often fought against tier 6s and tier 7s that it actually favors very well against. These days, however, you don't really get those juicy tier 6 and tier 7 matchups as much as you used to, so be careful with that. I'm wondering if I can actually manage to shoot this defender here. I think I actually can. Try and get him in his weak point, maybe? I just penned the weak point of a defender with a regular round. I'm happy about that. I deserve like a prize for that. From the side as well? Oh my lord. Looks like my Foch 155 bad luck is now starting to become good luck. I'd like to clarify this thing is not a sniper. It doesn't have very good accuracy at all. I didn't realize how good this position was for this big boy tank. So while I'm firing regular rounds at the defender and shooting at his weak point, he's caking gold just at the front of my turrets, and of course he manages to get me. Oh, world of tanks never change, never change. But you know what needs to never change also is the fact that my team are just basically kind of camping. So maybe they should make a play. I'm kind of worried. I don't want to lose another 440 hit points to the defender. Artie hits me for 53. Okay, mate. All right, bro. Wow, this T-34 is feeding me. Thanks for feeding me, boys. This is already a good game for a KV-5, and I've got a lot of hit points left to give to the defender's gold rounds. Yeah, maybe. I don't really want to go up there. He's pre-aimed for me. I've got to respect that he's going to hit me in the top of my tank. If it was something that doesn't have 260 millimeters of pen, if it only had like 200, 230, I would probably go after it. Did I just see that that guy had a dead gunner, or was that the Patriot? Oh, he missed, so I've actually got the rate of fire advantage on him, so I could actually go for a round into his lower plate. That's a very weird angle. Oh my lord. He's actually got a dead gunner. My eagle eye is telling me he's got a dead gunner, so I might actually try and pressure him while he's got a dead gunner. I try and go through the top of his tank again. I'm going to load gold now, and then I'm going to just try and pressure this defender. Looks like he's got his gunner back, however, so I've got to watch out for that. Maybe if I can hit the top of his tank. It looks like he's a little bit scared now. Did I just manage to make a defender scared in a KV5? That's just brilliant. I love that. I love that. Alright, so it looks like my team are winning the other flank because we're holding back a superior number of enemies. They're starting to get to a stage where they're getting a little bit vulnerable. Okay, Artie, yeah. Tax me of my hit points. Tax me of my hit points. I'll see if I can spend them a little bit better in a second. Defender missed, so I'm actually going to try and see if I can find this Patriot. Shame I was stunned there, otherwise I might consider going. Renegar, come with me. We can attack them. See if the Carnarvon will come. Because I want to. Okay, nice. We can attack, guys. All right, time to activate the speed governor. Hey, Artie misses. Alright, ladies and gents, I want to show you how good this thing is for ramming. Alright, this defender might stop me, I don't care. I just want to ram this Patriot. I just want to ram... He stops me for a second. Maybe I can even get him. Oh, I missed. Alright, let's ram this Patriot. Okay, here we go. This is where the KV5 is so fun. Look at this, 45 down. So was he trying to drown himself or something? I'll help you. Oh, 254 ramming damage. It's definitely not as much as I wanted. I didn't realize the guy was actually trying to ram himself, or maybe he was actually tracked underwater from the TS5. I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't have to do more with my hit points here. Maybe I should have been more aggressive in this kind of a situation. Oh, never mind. There's a Skoda T56. I'll be an absolute crying shame if the KV5 dealt with a defender and then deals with a Skoda T56, right? Boys and girls, oh, here we go. Come on, KV5, get to the Skoda. Get to the Skoda. Hopefully he falls back down the slope. If he falls back down the slope while he's reloading, I can ram him very hard. All right, let's put one round into him. He puts his gun up in the air. We'll take this. 615 damage. Oh, it's brilliant. Why did you turn so hard into me? Get out of the way, dude. I want to kill the Ferdinand. I guess he wants to go up the slope to be able to shoot him. Okay, that makes sense. I get it. Just kind of cut me off there while he was doing it, but I understand why. All right, Mr. Oh, I can't repair. Oh, never mind. I repair so quickly anyway. All right, yeah, that was the KV5. 3,000 damage dealt. Not bad. Trying to turn my gun round so I could be able to get that painted QuickyBaby screenshot for the thumbnail, but it doesn't look like it worked out well for me. You know what? This was a decent round for the KV5, considering that we were against some very decent premium tanks like the Defender and the Skoda T56. You just got to be one of those kind of like weirdos, you know, use your knowledge, hopefully, to be able to outplay them while maybe they spam gold at you, you penetrate their weak points with regular rounds, and then afterwards, go for it. Be aggressive, and this thing is absolutely wonderful. I managed to do 910 damage with a single shot to the Skoda T56, and if you want to know more about the KV5, yeah, I got some videos on this channel for you. This is honestly one of my favorite premium tanks for just getting in and being stupid. But be warned, you have to be stupid with purpose to be able to make it work. Alright, so 970 base, 3,000 damage, good round. We resupply premium consumables at full price. I still make 40,000 credits profit. Not too shabby. Alright, so what's the next tank that's gone into the Bond store? Ooh, this one's a little bit more disappointing for me, boys and girls, I'm not going to lie. The M41D. So this is a Chinese Tier 8 light tank. Well, I guess it's Taiwanese light tank. Is it a good one? It's up and down, really. I don't think I could ever call this one a bad one because for some reason I seem to be packing 70% win ratio on this tank. But then again, I've only played it 27 times, so I might just be getting incredibly lucky. The weird thing about this vehicle is that when Wargaming buffed it, they definitely made it way, way, way more competitive because they increased the view range, the base view range to 410. Because that means that you definitely don't need coated optics on a vehicle like this. And instead, you can invest your statistics into other areas of the vehicle. For me, I'm taking a commander's vision system. I've also got a second setup on this tank for where it's a pure spotting map. And I'm taking a low exhaust system instead of taking the gun rammer. But the rate of fire on this vehicle is voracious, and so I do like a gun rammer vents setup along with the commander's vision system. Although now that I've got the second setup, I might even consider just making this one more like a full damage setup. You know what? Let's go for that. Let's actually drop out the commander's vision system. Let's drop in vertical stabilizers, and let's see if we can have a good old-fashioned gun handling build. It's going to make me very poor for when it comes down to spotting. Well, not that poor, because I've still got 474 meters view range, but without the vision system, really, on bushy maps, it's not really going to work out too well for you. So the M41D. Do I recommend it as a light tank? It's just kind of one of those nothing vehicles, really. It's kind of just, I'd say, worse all in all than the M41 with the 90mm, which is kind of bizarre because I swear I just featured that on a video where I was talking about it being probably one of the worst light tanks or worst premium tanks that you could be able to get your hands on. So it's just alpha damage and penetration and all of those kind of things are hard to be able to make up for. When you're playing on a tank like this that doesn't really have great HE rounds, it doesn't have the best premium rounds, and light tanks are in a position where they need to scout or they need to just almost not be relevant in the meta, and this one, it's in a tricky situation. It's not really an incredible damage dealer, and it's also not really an incredible scout as well. So on this map, I'm actually going to go for a damage dealing setup because I don't really think that I need the extra camo getting into position. So we're going to go for a gun rammer, we're going to go for vents, we're going to go for vert stabs. And I have to admit, with the vert stabs, this thing does look like it's going to have some pretty darn good gun handling on the move. But a 3.62 second reload to only do 170 damage alpha with 192mm of standard pen and 227 gold pen. Yeah, this thing really isn't meant to be your your damage dealing light. I don't think I can drive out in front of that bat chat, in all honesty. I think I'm going to get absolutely slaughtered if I do. So I'm going to wait for my vision to reset, and then I'm going to try and cross as quickly as I can straight over here so they can't see me. And then I'm going to hang around in here for a little bit. This is very awkward. They've set all of their tanks up here, and I'm trying to just make sure that I can still get some vision without dying. And remember, because I've got such a bad light tank with regards to my camera rating, I'm not sure I can even drive up this slope without getting spotted by the bat chat. And if that happens, I'm about to get absolutely destroyed. Oh, luckily I actually managed it. Should I fire here? It's a bit bold. Oh my god, look at that gun handling. It's just, well, accuracy I should say is not really working out very well for me, is it? Is that Type 61 vulnerable? Kind of is with his weak point over there. Close. Come on, Mr. Type 61. Let me hit your weak point. Let me give me a little taste of your Japanese weak point on top of that. Oh my god, it's a UDES. Well, he actually missed. Oh. Oh, I don't think I can make it down that slope. Oh, well, I'm dead, aren't I? Yeah, just welcome to playing Tier 8 light tanks, honestly. Like, what am I meant to do? Just hang around at the back and just not play? Try and sit in a position over there? I guess. This map just set up awfully. They sent all of their vehicles here, which stopped me from safely being able to get up over here. So I was never able to get the vision. So I was never able to spot for my tanks at the back. Just an incredibly awkward situation. And then who's scared? Who's scared of this tank? It's got no alpha, it's got no DPM really. And so while this definitely wasn't the matchup or the situation for the tank, would I recommend this one? I wouldn't recommend the M41D. I feel like it's an irrelevant vehicle. You'll do far better to get an LT432 or an ELC-90 or an EBR. And I guess the only reason why this thing doesn't have an abysmal win ratio is because it probably has a die-hard audience of playing it, because it is actually the second least popular light tank. And when we think that I'm talking about the M4190, the non-skinned version, this is by far the least popular Tier 8 tank in the light class in the game. So my personal recommendation would be to save yourself the 8,000 bonds and just get yourself an LT432 instead. You're just going to do so much better with a vehicle like that, irrelevant of whether you're a great player or whether you're a below average player as well. Okay, so let's talk about the final tank on this list. It's the Panzer IV Schmaltern. And the Schmaltern is basically what the Panzer IV used to look like back in the day with added side skirts. Yeah, that's right. This tank and this turret was available at tier 5. Any of you old school World of Tanks players will fondly remember it. Now, this is a tank that's got some DPM. It's got pretty good pen. It's got pretty good accuracy. It's got pretty good view range. It's pretty good at everything. And I guess the only issue with this vehicle is you've just got to question whether it's okay to be pretty good at everything in this day and age, especially when you're playing at tier 6, which kind of feels a bit like a dead tier sometimes. Also, this vehicle has to deal with things like T-34-85Ms and also has to deal with Cromwell Berlins. And when you get up into a map and matchup like this, what am I meant to do? I'm basically unable to claim the top of the hill at the beginning. I guess I could try and like snipe out. There's no way that I'm fast enough to be able to get up there. My statistics are good in every area, but they're not great in any area, so I can't be able to make the aggressive plays that I would want. Okay, so if I'm playing in the Panzer IV, I could go and try and support down the west and snipe it out. I could try and see if nobody goes up on the hill at the beginning of the game. I do actually have some gun depression on this tank, 8 degrees, which is pretty okay for a German medium tank. Or I could try and make my way down the east and see if I can put some support fire through there. Oof, this thing doesn't feel very quick for a medium tank. Its engine power, gosh, its power to weight is actually just over 10.5. Well, I guess as long as I only go downslope, I should be okay, right? So let's talk about the turret armor of this vehicle. So when this tank was at tier 5, this was a very good turret. You could deal with those tier 3s. Yeah, that's right, back in the day, tier 3s could meet tier 5s. You could deal with all of those pesky tier 4s as well, and tier 5s definitely struggled against you. These days, however, when this tank has to meet tier 8s, probably not such good news. Luckily, I've actually managed to get a good amount of spotting on that Challenger at the beginning of this game, and I'm trying to get into a scenario where I'm hopefully able to snipe against this Type 58. I'm hoping he's chilling. It's currently in the UK, was celebrating a national bank holiday to celebrate the 70 years of Queen Elizabeth being on the throne. And so I'm hoping that a few people who have been very joyous this morning, this afternoon, wherever it is now, I don't know, you know, we're on a holiday, and we're just hoping that we'll find some easy targets to be able to deal with. Although that doesn't really seem to be the thing right at the beginning of this game. So I'm trying to think about whether my team needs me to push through against the Panther. They've got a 45 TP in the cap. I guess I should push with the Panther then and just pray that there's nobody sitting on that corner with a big alpha damage. The idea that this thing can meet a TVP 100 is just a terrifying prospect. I'm kind of like a Panther, but not like a Panther, if you know what I mean. We've got similar turrets. Maybe the same turret for all I know. I guess when you think about it, this turret at tier 6 is a lot better than it is at tier 7. It's just I don't really feel... Maybe I am. Maybe I'm being a little bit harsh on this. Maybe this tank is basically like a Panther at tier 6. It just doesn't seem to really be that kind of a mega performer like you would think. And I guess this taking the whole speed away from the vehicle is definitely one of the worst things. Wow, so I just lost what felt like pretty much all of my hit points there to the Progetto. I guess I shouldn't have got spotted. That was a bit of a misplay by me. I'm not going to lie, I'm not usually in a position like this. Oh, that gun handling. Oh, that gun handling. Oh, nearly. Oh. I don't know what to say. I just got hit for 313 high explosive anti-tank round by the M44. I don't really know what I expected in a map and matchup like this. This was an incredibly disappointing game. Maybe I should be sitting at the back of the map and just sniping it in. Who wants to play like that? And so all in all, the Panzer IV Schmaltern, definitely one of the rarer tanks you can be able to get your hands on. In fact, I think it might be one of the least popular tier 6 medium tanks inside the game, with only the AC4 Experimental Fury and Loz's M4A2 actually being rarer. But just because something is rare doesn't mean that it's worth playing, and we can clearly see that practically every single premium tank has a better win ratio than this one. And I think that comes down to just this abysmal mobility, that it ends up getting into a position and then hopefully it's got enough view range and damage to be able to deal with it. But I just really don't see that tier 6 is all that fun to play anymore for a vehicle like this, when really you can do far better playing something like a Cromwell Berlin or even something like a T-34-85M. And would I ever recommend to spend 5,000 bonds on this tank? No, don't spend 5,000 bonds on this tank unless you're a collector and you really want to have this vehicle. You'd do far better to save up the extra 3,000 and play something like a KV-5 and actually have some fun in World of Tanks. And then I guess I should make a passing mention to the styles that are available. There's the Overlord style, do not submerge above this line. Sure, I don't know what you all think, but I can't really vibe, and this is the Dazzle style, I can't really vibe with the 2D styles anymore when there seem to be so many 3D styles. Actually, I say that, but oh, I like this color scheme. The Red Desert, I actually think that looks pretty nice. I kind of like that one. I think the Red Desert could look very cool on maybe, you know, British tanks. Seems to be doing well with it with the Conqueror at the end. Chinese ceramic style. I managed to pick one of these up inside the Twitch Drops store during the previous season, the first one in this year. So while it is a cool looking style, would I ever recommend spending the most precious currency in the game on a style? Probably not. Just get them by participating in events and put them on your tanks and save your bonds for the things that really matter. Like I talked about in this video of how to spend bonds in World of Tanks and how to create some vehicles into powerful monstrosities. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that was my opinion on the new items in the bond store. Sorry the gameplay in the M41D and the Schmaltern wasn't better, but with that +2 matchmaking and just really unfavorable maps for the vehicles, I'm kind of happy it went that way because it painted a fair interpretation of the tanks. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down, and let me know in the comments what you think about all of the different new vehicles that have been added. Are you someone who spent a huge amount of credits on the Foch 155 and are very sad that it's now available in the bond store? Are you somebody who recently purchased the KV-5 for real money and are irritated that it is available for bonds? And which one are you looking forward to picking up, if any of them? And just a quick reminder that this will be the final weekend that the gold foil t-shirts will be available. Then they're all going to be printed on Monday and Tuesday and sent out to everyone who picked one up. And if you want to see the one that I'm wearing today, which is the gold on the white, then this is the kind of standard that you're going to be getting, obviously minus the green screen failing behind me. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.